Everybody to our February 2nd Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the January 5th meeting minutes. Are there any changes that need to be made? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve as is.
I move to approve as is.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. All right, we'll move on to our regular agenda. Under old business, SR 2509.
Good evening, Mike Jeffries, City of Fairhope. So under old business, site plan review 25.09 is 7 Brew. That applicant has requested to be moved to the March agenda, so there is nothing on them for tonight. And the next item underneath old business is the Highlands at Fairhope Village.
We don't need a motion to put that off. Okay.
No, sir, that's kind of just a FYI to let you know where that is in the motion. We will need a motion for this next item. And that's SD 24.14, Highlands at Fairhope Village. And this is a request for a 1-year extension. They received their preliminary approval for their multiple occupancy project on June 3rd, 2024. On the screen on the right is that notice of action that lists all the information associated with that case. For reference, on the left is a current image. We went out this morning and was able to take a current aerial of the site, so they are in progress. They are steadily working on the site work for this and actually have a couple building permits for some of the vertical construction to begin as well. But they have just not quite been able to complete all of the infrastructure improvements to be able to come back for the final MOP approval as of yet. So they plan to do that within the upcoming year and are requesting a 1-year extension to their preliminary approval for that.
I just have one question. Are they still building roads and infrastructure out there besides just the buildings?
Yes, sir.
'Cause didn't we change that you have to do the roads and all the infrastructure first prior to getting the buildings, and this just predate that?
I'll fill in there, Mike. They will have to get their infrastructure back to you for approval before we'll give them COs of any buildings.
I was
we wanna make sure-
thinking after that Battles Road thing that we changed the requirement. They had to do the roads, get them completed first before we could start going vertical.
So before they haven't began the vertical construction, we have the permits reviewed, and building department and Eric is monitoring that, and that the roads are in Battles Place. I know what you're referring to is that way the drainage.
Remember we had that big rain and everything, and all the trees were down, no roads were up, and they were doing it all at once.
Correct.
And they totally clear cut, and I thought we changed the rule that you have to go and build the roads and all the retention and drainage and all that, then you could come back and build the buildings, and I see buildings here.
These buildings were built several years ago.
Okay.
So that's what I was going to say. They've submitted the permits. Part of the roads and infrastructure were put in for their previous plan that was approved. Not to go into great depths, but there was PUD amendments, then MOP amendments that came through and altered that plan. And they are currently working on the revised infrastructure for utilities and stuff.
So those buildings in this picture exist?
Those
then?
buildings
That was my
existed
whole
then. Yes, sir.
question. I just wanted to make
Yep.
sure that we had done that, because I remember we had a fiasco down there with that
Correct.
12-inch rain.
And that one was a little unique. There's nothing in the regulations to prevent us from giving the building permits. We did the same on the apartments on Twin Beach and Rockwell. We just will not allow any COs and people moving in until they finalize the MOPs, because that was one of the problems. We had a mix of people living in there, a phased project in Twin
Water
Beach.
phased?
Correct. For this, a lot of the stormwater, where the stormwater will go is already existing into it.
That's my next question. So it's already
You're
been built.
correct. If this was phase 1 of a multiple occupancy project, we typically look before we're going to let vertical construction to go, that the drainage can be handled on the site regardless of how it is, to prevent things like
I've got a
that.
few more general 30,000-foot questions,
Yes,
but
sir.
not so much about this. I'll ask them after the meeting. So we can move
Understandable.
on. All right, so are there any concerns, commissioners, or questions for staff? Are y'all recommending that we
We're
do
in
the
support
extension?
of the extension.
All right. If there are no questions for staff, I'll entertain a motion at this time.
make a motion, we approve the 1-year extension of final plat approval.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I've got a motion and a second to extend the final plat approval for 1 year. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. All right, motion passes unanimously. All right, moving on, we're at new business, SD 2603, Twin Beach subdivision.
All right, good evening, and I will preface these next two agenda items real quick. They were submitted concurrently. The first item that you're going to hear, Twin Beach subdivision, can be approved or heard on its standalone subdivision. The second item, however, SD 2604, will require the approval of this item. So we can vote on them separately. I think it will be helpful if I can just go through the slides for both to give you all the full picture. But of course, stop me if y'all have any questions. So ST20, this is the first one, yes, sir. Correct. Correct. No, excuse me, yes. They both have public hearings.
I'm okay with that, just as long as you make it clear and vote separately.
All right, just for the audience's info, we have two subdivision requests coming up. One is just a 2-lot subdivision to break out a cell phone tower from the rest of the property. And the second is actual, what we think of as a subdivision request. So what I'm going to do is after the staff does their presentation, and we'll have one public hearing for both of those, and then we will vote individually on the two different items. Thank you.
Yes, sir. So SD 2603 is Twin Beach subdivision. That is a preliminary and final plat approval of a 2-lot minor subdivision. It's approximately 13 acres located on the south side of Twin Beach Road, 1,000 feet or so west of Section Street. The property subject site is zoned R1 low density single family residential district, and the surveyor and engineer of records J Consulting with the owner Sandra Bonner. On your screen, you'll see our standard zoning map on the left showing the surrounding zoning, as well as our aerial map on the right showing you the current conditions of the site. Bit of history. In October, the Planning Commission recommended approval of a conditional annexation for this site to R1 zoning designation. The City Council subsequently approved that in November of 2025. There have been no other cases filed for this site. On the screen, you'll see the preliminary plat for Twin Beach subdivision. Lot 1 is on the right side of the screen. That's where the cell tower sits as it currently exists today. And then Lot 2, the primary, the larger portion of the property is on the left side of your map here. The purpose, as you mentioned, is just to create 2 legal lots of record from single meets and bounds property in order to subdivide out that portion of the lot where the existing cell tower sits. All the proposed lots meet our size width standards as well as setback requirements. They both front Twin Beach Road with a compliant 80-foot right-of-way. There is one amendment or revision that will need to be made to the final plat. This Lot 2 actually has 2 frontages. To the south, it fronts Calyx Circle, which has a 40-foot right-of-way. The preliminary plat does not illustrate that. They'll just need to make that minor revision before they can record the final plat if it's approved. Sidewalks already exist along Twin Beach Road as well as Calyx Circle, and there are various drainage and utility easements shown on the preliminary plat that will need to be carried over. Utilities for this are pretty simple. Fairhope is going to provide water, sewer, and gas. Riviera will provide electric and AT&T telecommunications. No other utilities are being proposed as part of this minor subdivision. There will be some changes in the subsequent agenda item. Drainage and wetlands are pretty standard. There is a wetland on the, let's see if I back up, on the east side of the property here that is shown and delineated on Lot 1 and Lot 2. The preliminary plat, as you can see, does not show the 30-foot wetland buffer on the Lot 1 portion of that wetland area. That is something that will also need to be revised on the final plat if approved. They do show it on the portion of the wetland area for Lot 2, however. And One item of note for drainage for this application is the proposed two-lot subdivision is maintaining the existing stormwater drainage levels for this request. However, no engineering certification was provided stating that it will maintain its existing drainage levels. That can be rectified with a simple engineer's letter included in the case. Drainage, of course, is going to change drastically for the upcoming item after we get through this one. Ultimately, for the minor subdivision, staff does recommend approval of SD 2603 Twin Beach subdivision with a few standard conditions revising the final plat, which I will let y'all read. It's the same ones in your staff report. Without any questions, I can move on to our second item. All right. SD 2604 is the Preserve at Point Clear subdivision. This is a preliminary plat approval of a 13-lot major subdivision. It's approximately 11.4 acres, located in Summerlin, south side of Twin Beach, west of Section Street. You'll notice the lot lines have, the boundary lines have changed. For this case, we've now cut out the cell tower lot, and this 13-lot major subdivision will just be for the lot 2 of the previous case. So the same history. In October, the Planning Commission recommended approval of a conditional annexation. The City Council subsequently approved that in November. It is important to mention, again, like I did at the top of the slides, that this application was submitted concurrently with Twin Beach subdivision. The review of this particular application, SD 2604, by the Planning Commission is dependent upon and requires the approval of Twin Beach subdivision. Preliminary plat shown on your screen illustrates all 13 lots being proposed. Similarly, they meet all our dimensional standards, size, width, setback requirements. The purpose of this request is to create 13 legal lots of record from that one existing legal lot from lot 2 of the previous subdivision. The south terminus of Emery Lane connects Twin Beach, or excuse me, Emery Lane is a new proposed interior street connecting Twin Beach Road to Calyx Circle, illustrating a compliant right-of-way along Emery Lane. Similarly, this preliminary plat this final plat will have to be revised to include the right-of-way for Calyx Circle. That was also not included on this one. Setbacks are compliant. The plat does show several sidewalk, utility, and drainage easements, which are not clearly labeled on the preliminary plat. There's a cover sheet to the plat that they include a table with some information just for the sake of clarity. Staff would like labels to be added to the preliminary plat, just showing where setbacks are and various easements are. Utilities, for this proposal, gas service is going to be installed depending on the final plan's needs. Water and sewer connections require tap fees and system development charges as per usual, with any infrastructure upgrades being paid by the developer. Water infrastructure is going to connect to Fairhope Utilities at Twin Beach Road. Sewer lines are divided between a low pressure system for lots 5 through 9 and a gravity sewer for lots 1 through 3 and 10 through 13, linking to the existing mains off Twin Beach Road and Calyx Circle. The applicant did provide a traffic verification letter stating that the subdivision is anticipated to create 10 AM peak trips versus 13 PM peak trips. As such, no additional study was required. And I've just blown up the utility plan here, illustrating the gravity sewer versus low pressure in that water line, just for reference if we need it. Stormwater for the 13-lot subdivision will be managed by 5 bioretention swales, directing water to 1 dry detention pond. On the image to the right of the screen, the swales are illustrated in that kind of green color, and the dry is that sandy color. The submitted drainage report shows that the post-development runoff rates will be lower than pre-development, and they specifically state no negative impacts are expected. The swales utilize low-impact development methods to infiltrate runoff naturally, and the applicant is also seeking a waiver to allow 2 of those swales to be located within the right-of-way, and I'll call those out here in a minute. City engineering staff does have some concerns regarding the stormwater runoff, or outfall, excuse me, from the subject site to the north side of Twin Beach Road, and the potential for increasing the amount of water being added to those systems. You can see that a little bit better on this map. It's the blue line in the top left corner of the utility map connecting the south side of Twin Beach to the north side. Pretty much all of the water drains from this site through that dry pond and then out through the line going across Twin Beach Road. As I mentioned, the applicant is requesting a waiver from Article 5, Section F9E of the City of Fairhope subregs, limiting stormwater detention from being located within right-of-way. Staff is in support of this waiver request. It's worth noting that if approved by the Planning Commission, the applicant will need to receive approval and adoption of a cooperative maintenance agreement by the Fairhope City Council before they'll be allowed to put any stormwater infrastructure within the right-of-way. Quickly going through wetlands, the applicant submitted a wetland report from Eco Solutions that shows the same wetland area. They neglected to provide any U.S. Army Corps of Engineer formal delineation, instead to voluntarily provide that 30-foot wetland buffer per the subdivision regulations. They are also proposing for pedestrian connectivity sidewalks going from Twin Beach down to Calyx Circle, along Emery Lane. Everywhere that you see highlighted in green there's about a 400-foot stretch going from Twin Beach down that they're not providing sidewalk. This is due to topographical challenges and tree preservation desires. They're off of Twin Beach Road. The Commission can exempt sidewalk installation when conditions prevent their effectiveness. Typically that is just rectified by requiring a sidewalk easement along that stretch of road. The proposed plat illustrates compliant street tree plantings. And then my last point here for green space, there is a minor adjustment that is needed on their plan. Illustrated here in the dark green, you see all their green space area, which they are utilizing preserve area. There's a stipulation within the subregs that you cannot use federally protected wetlands for preserve area. As they did not provide a wetland delineation from the Corps, we kind of have to assume that any wetlands are jurisdictional for the sake of calculating our green space area. So simple math just removes that area from their proposal. They still have plenty of green space area that they're proposing. They can still meet their their green space requirement even by subtracting that 0.18 acres there highlighted in red. They'll just simply need to revise their green space plan to fix those calculations if approved. Staff is in support of the waiver requested from Article 5, Section F9E, and staff also recommends approval of SD 2604, Preserve at Point Clear preliminary plat with the following conditions. Again, I won't go line by line, they're pretty standard, just those minor revisions that were necessary, as well as the condition of the previous case being approved. I believe the applicant is present. If you have questions for them, and then staff, of course, is at your disposal.
Are there any questions for staff at this time? All right, thank you, Peyton.
Yes, sir.
Anybody from Jade or Shay wish to speak at this time?
Good evening. I'm Will Graham with Jade Consulting. Just here to answer any questions you might have regarding the subdivision.
They spoke to the rate not increasing. Is the volume of stormwater released from that outfall expected to increase from post-development compared to development?
No, so that 24-inch culvert that goes under Section Street, our calculations show that it's presently rather undersized. Our calculations show the road overtopping with a 5-year storm. With our
Section or Twin Beach? Section?
Sorry, Twin Beach.
Okay.
That's my fault. Under Twin Beach, yes, that it would overtop at about a 5-year storm. So what we've done, we've kind of oversized our dry pond to try and hold back some of that existing water as well as our water, so that we can kind of stack up the storage. Because right now backing up south of Twin Beach, and there's some storage there that kind of attenuates naturally as it is today. So we're trying to kind of stack up and build up some of that storage behind our dam, as well as what's there in front of our dam, to lessen the I guess the trouble that's going on right there with that. So we're proposing to release less water for all storms up to 100-year storm. I know it looks, I guess those two 36 inches look a little odd going into a 24-inch, but I guess we still have to release our 100-year storm, at that attenuated rate and be able to release that. It's just that this culvert under Twin Beach is undersized at the moment.
Let me ask you this. Are you saying that the water's gone over the road and the people have seen the water go over, or that y'all's calculations are showing?
Our calculations are showing that.
I don't remember the water ever going over there, and but I don't drive. Okay, we're gonna open the public hearing in a minute, because that's the question that I had, so I'm glad you're here. Okay.
Yeah, and that's what our calculations are showing, based on the drainage basins and the all the data available.
One question I had was, when y'all did your calculations, that area, to me, when I just got out of my car and kind of stood over there and looked at it, looked like just kind of God had made a, retention pond for us. I mean, it looked like where that 24-inch culvert that goes under the road is, it looked like the water comes down from the church right at that culvert, but in me looking at it, it looks like the water would then flow away from the culvert for a while until it backs up and gets to a certain depth and then start going to the culvert. Is that the case? I mean, is it an optical illusion? Because it looks to me like that would probably fill up with 3 or 4 feet of water, naturally, before it would then start coming in through the culvert.
Do you know about where you're talking about, like just south of that culvert?
Like if I'm standing right in front of the culvert, you've got where the ditch comes down the hill from the church, and then it looks like, if you kind of look just not quite straight ahead, but just sort of curving this way, that it goes back, probably drops 3 or 4 feet in elevation, for a certain amount of distance, and then to where it looks like the water would just kind of back up, fill up, and then come out of the culvert.
Yeah, it backs up a little bit down in there, based on what we have. It's
So I
not-
just didn't know if that would be calculated in your,
Yes.
in your pre versus your post.
So, yeah, we calculate kind of the existing condition with the storage that's being provided behind that culvert and the rate that it's going through that culvert. So there's storage behind there. And we actually looked at a number of scenarios of what the best situation would be post-development, and whether we try and keep all that storage. And, when we added our dam, we have our storage up to a certain elevation down here on Twin Beach, and we add our dam, we can kind of stack that up to a higher elevation and hold more water back and let it come through slowly, so that it has more actual storage volume behind our dam and there in that 250-foot area we're leaving natural.
Is that a pretty sandy soils in there?
It's kind of sandy clay. It's
Have much perk to it?
in the bottom of that, it has a little bit of perk to it, but it's not great naturally for percolating.
Any other questions for the here at this time? All right, if you'll stay up front, I'm going to
Yeah.
open the public hearing, and then any questions that the public has, I'll write them down and then let you answer them one by one. All right, this is the Preserve at Point Clear on Twin Beach Road. I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. If you have anything to say, please come up and state your name and your address and whatever your questions or concerns are.
My name is Stacy Quates Mitchell, and that's my husband, Harvey Mitchell. We are the owners of 6689 Twin Beach Road, and it is across the street from where the proposed, the plot for this, what we talking about here.
Wow.
The first letter I received was last week, and I had to go to the post office and get it. But by that time, the date was passed to send the questions in. I called the city of Fairhope, and Mike came out. I wasn't with him, I was at work. But my concern is the drainage that comes across that street. That ravine runs between my property, all the way back to about 400 feet. I can't tell you where the water was coming from. I don't know if it was traveling south. We can't tell. All I know is just we got a bunch of erosion from the water coming in. They're getting ready to put 13 houses across the street, and that water is gonna run north. That's what Mike told me, it's running north. I thought it was running south. But I watched that water pile up right there where you're talking about coming from the church. And in the past, it has came across the street. But when Fairhope put the sewage drainage down, we having sinkholes on the other side. But I think this last time, about 3 weeks ago, they came and put a new pipe down to fix it. But if you're gonna put 16 houses or 13, 14, 15, if he got a big 24-inch pipe and mine 12-inch, that might not be the case of the pipes, because y'all read numbers.
Now, Stacy, when you're talking about your 12-inch pipe, which one are you talking
No,
about?
his pipe, well, his buffer,
The
because
one
this is my
coming-
first
the-
time hearing
yeah,
this.
the
My
one
first
coming-
time really seeing it this big, because they sent the letter, look like this, and the plot that they sent that I'm supposed to read is
Tiny.
a square. I
But
mean,
the pipe coming under the road is 24 inches.
it's
Where-
24 inches.
Well, where is your pipe? Or is that the one you're talking about, the one going
That's
under
the
the road?
one that's coming across the road?
Yeah, that's a 24 inch.
Okay, now what's their pipe?
They're gonna leave that one there, but then they had 36-inch pipes, but they're gonna raise the level of the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
I can ask him to come explain that a little better, but they're gonna raise, kind of build like a dike
Mm-hmm.
as it stands in front of it to hold more of the water back, so that he's saying that less water should be coming over after they're done than before they're done.
That's what he's saying.
Chairman, you mind if I
Sure, no, go ahead. Yes,
see
sir.
if we have a plan to reference? Just because, those letters are just notification of a meeting. They don't include details. One more? William, you correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. And I can show this with the side of the screen. So the pipe that's being discussed is the 24-inch crossing the road is here. The 36 is here, and it goes kind of into the field. They're leaving this area alone, creating a detention pond that will back up here and detain some of the water, and then it would kind of do what it's naturally doing here and detain. So is that the 36 we're talking about at the outfall?
Yes.
So there is a lot of potential water coming in here, and I think that was the ultimate question. Is there enough capacity in that, what is an open field and the detention pond to slow down what is coming
Okay.
there today?
All right,
And
I
the
get that
capacity of
part.
those two things are greater than what is there today.
And Stacy, what he's saying, what the engineer is saying, is that 24-inch pipe is too small. But for y'all's side, y'all don't want it bigger, because if they make it bigger, it's gonna be putting, more water on you, so you
But
kinda
this is my
like it.
question about the infrastructure. We all know it's been now well over my years, because I'm 56, and I know that stuff haven't been changed out since I've been living on Twin Beach Road that long. And the new stuff that y'all putting in, well, it probably need to be upgraded, because y'all come through and put the pipe down and just, we've been having problems down there on Twin Beach Road. And I've been sitting quietly, my driveway washing away right on my driveway where I live. This is we had a mobile home up on that property for my daughter. The pipe, who is responsible for fixing that stuff? Fixing the side of the road, the ditches that's on Twin Beach Road. That's water coming off the street, washing out my driveway at 6689. I have called the county, I've called the city. The city blame it on the county blame it on the city. So I get everybody together. So you tell him he lying in his face. But they want me to fix something on my side when the problem is coming off of the street. The problem you talking about right there where it's coming down, it's a mess out there when it's raining hard. So the new pipe that y'all put down, when I say y'all, I'm talking about the city of Fairhope. We haven't had a hard rain yet. Since they put that pipe down, it has not rained.
But what pipe
And
is that?
Stacy, I just want to make sure, because I completely understand the pointing between the city and the county, but there has been a lot of infrastructure improvements out there with our water and sewer, but the drainage in the that's a county-maintained road. So I don't know that there's been new drainage pipe put in. It wouldn't have been the city.
It
would
wasn't,
have been
it's
the
not
county.
any, it needs to be.
I don't
It's
think the
not any
county's-
new drainage pipe out there, and that's the problem.
County's in charge of the drainage off the road. The city's providing
That's,
water and
that's
sewer
still,
to the
that's still a
houses.
county, that's still a county road to this
Yeah.
time, so the county's responsible for the storm sewer. The city just goes underground with the water and sewer, and then the county's responsible for the storm.
And there was a recent project there on I think it was the south side of the road, for sewer,
It was on the north side of the road.
the north side. Okay, sorry. That
North
was
side,
the
where the
sewer
storm
line,
sewer
not
went
storm,
through.
yeah.
Down to that new pump
Lift station.
station. So, is the water, how deep have you seen the water get over that road there when it comes over?
It's rushing. I really, on my side, it's just constantly coming, and it's flowing like a raging river, cause it's washing up everything I
Does it come from
put
up the,
down.
does it come from up the hill, or does it come from across the street?
It's coming from off the road. It's coming from up the hill too, off of Hankins Lane back there too, cause I'm having problems on the backside of my lot too. But the water, what we talking about, coming straight off Twin Beach Road.
That is a low spot, so is it coming from the ditches on your side of the
It ain't no ditches.
Yeah.
It need to be ditches.
But it's coming from the road. that
Comes
way.
down, yeah, that really, that kind of sheet flows down the road right there, like she's talking about, in that road, and that kind of makes the water go pretty fast, too. I've seen that, I haven't seen it come over from the Shea side, I haven't seen it over the road there, but I've
Oh,
seen it come down the road.
if we get a good rain, it comes over.
Comes over from the other side.
And it may be that it need to be cleaned out or maintained out, but it's coming.
Okay.
So, hey, I can't stop y'all from building, but I do want to make sure that, yeah, I bought the property. Didn't know that part of that ravine was like that over there. So I wanted to get it clean. I wanted to clean it up. Well, the county told me I can't touch it because it's wetlands. Well, who's supposed to clean it up? Because it's a mess over there. It's a mess. I have grandchildren up there. Snakes and it's quite a mess over there.
I could be out of turn, but I think, while you can't clear a wetland, you can do selective,
Well, I done had to be a
Selective
buckheads to keep what I have up there.
But the more that wetland area stays vegetated, the more it'll act like a sponge and it'll actually soak up some of that water and help you. Where if those get filled or cleared, then they just shed the water right off and make it worse. And there's even like up the street at Energy Jeans, there's a little bit of a wetland that goes into the, a little bit west of the school. There's a little bit of a wetland. If you look at those wetland maps, they're all over.
And there's.
Serve like a natural sponge.
Certainly that is not accurate. We get delineations. That potential wetland actually extends on the west side of this property, but, the delineator that went out and did said that's actually not a wetland, so maybe a delineation would clear that up.
It's not a wetland on the south side. It's on the north side.
Well, the county map shows it on both the north and the south, but that's a potential lake.
Okay.
So that is not a definitive layer, that's just some analysis done together that said it's an indicator.
Oh,
They've
so you're
changed.
saying even her wetland, you might, if you get somebody to officially make a ruling on it, you might actually be able
They've
to.
changed some of the Corps changed some of the wetland requirements, and it's a little bit different than it was. And a lot of stuff that used to be considered wetlands is not anymore, for better or for worse. And you can hand clear wetlands, have somebody hand clear them. Getting machinery in can't so much. But
But the
there are
more
a
you
number
do
of
that,
companies, I know like Gina Todia, for instance, and a few of the engineering companies, will do wetlands delineation. She actually specializes in, doing a wetland plan on top of the delineation. And there are a number of people like that that you could talk to. We're going to get the engineer up after we close the public hearing
Okay.
and ask him about your questions, because what it sounds like he's proposing would probably help y'all out. That 24-inch pipe is undersized, which hurts the people on the south side, but actually helps you out, because if they put a 36-inch pipe in under the road, that's going to put a lot more water on top of you, where at least when it overflows the road, it's kind of sheet flowing and spreading it out and backing it up. But they're saying that they're going to hold more of that water back up the hill before it hits that final culvert. So I'll ask them to describe that better after the public hearing's closed.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions besides that?
No, not for that property right there, but my other properties, and I thought it was gonna be on there. I don't even, what, is Mike in the building?
Who are we talking, Mike?
Mike Jeffries is right there.
Talk to you on the phone? You work for the city? I do. Did you go out to 6689? Okay, well, it's not that Mike. I just got Mike, the city engineer. That's all on my phone, and, but that's all I have. I'm just concerned about,
Because we don't have a Mike City engineer. Is it Richard?
huh?
Richard?
No, it wasn't Richard, it was Mike, cause
Do you know what department he worked in?
well, I can call the phone when we get out of here and make sure his phone don't ring.
See,
Yeah.
that's his story, and he's sticking to
Because
it.
I have talked to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've talked to Richard too, this been a couple of months back and it seemed like I'm the only one calling complaining about the stuff going on Twin Beach Road. I talked to my neighbors, the Packers on Packer Lane. All that water is sitting back there between their house and my house, and I don't know if it's supposed to be a holding time. I don't know what's back there. I'm scared to go back there.
It's the natural gully, so water's gonna be back there.
Which I understand, but is it supposed to be sitting?
That's kind of what happens in those gullies, that you get kind of intermittent flows. It's not a running creek.
It should be soaking in eventually,
Yeah,
just
it
the way
sits and
that,
perks and eventually goes into the ground.
My dad walked back there. He said there was a pond back there, but he ain't here to say that, because it was his eyes that said it was a pond back there, not mine. So,
well, it may be, there may be a pond there one day, and then 2 days later, it's soaked in, and it's.
I just want to make sure
Well, that's
all
like
of
back,
that water don't come and add to the problem we already have.
that's like back behind Daryl's house. There used to be that pond, and now it's just filled up with privet and stuff. People used to fish back there, and there are a lot of those ponds back there just gotten filled up and trees grow in them. It's crazy. You talk to the old timers where they used to fish and stuff, and now it's just a low spot with privet and popcorn trees. Cool to restore it. All right. Anything else, Stacy?
Okay, well, okay. I didn't receive the notice for this in October. I received this notice, so I just want to stay in the loop.
And just, I think that was, the first notice was annexation that went to the city, through you guys and city council. There's no plans or anything as part of that was just notifying that
Okay.
they're zoning. So this was the notification, and, I think we hear you, so
Okay.
we got it, we
All
got
right.
you the right letter at the right time.
Okay.
Yes, and there will be another final plat that you'll get another letter if this is approved and work is done. There'll be another letter, but that might be a year or two from now.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Stacy. And by the way, the legal, the level, and of course, we have an attorney here. Whenever I say the word legal, he puckers up. But the legal, hurdle that they have to across is to make it no worse than it is
Okay.
before. And they're saying that they're gonna make it better, but that's, they've got to hold more water back after the project than was before is the
Okay.
standard they have to do. So we're gonna ask them a few questions now.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak to this item? All right, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing at this time. If you could come back up and address some of her concerns. I wonder if there needs to be any riprap on the other side of the road to kind of slow some of that volume down, or if what y'all are doing, if you think would slow it down, or do you think it's coming from up the road from the east where they're, she's just directly across the street from you and that cleared.
Okay, yeah, and, I mean, I guess, I'm not sure, it doesn't look like there's any riprap on the north side of that, culvert. It could probably use some, and I know, I guess, one of the concerns with upsizing that pipe and would be the effects downstream. There would have to be, I
No,
guess,
they don't want that upsized, that's for sure.
yeah,
I was
some-
wondering if you could put something on the back side of it, maybe take some of that volume if that volume's gonna be going for longer after y'all are done, if you could maybe do something to kind of disperse some of that water a little bit. If it's coming from, that pipe, maybe y'all could, if you're bringing some riprap in for different effects anyway, just put a little bit on that other side to kind of slow some of that, velocity down a little bit.
yeah, I don't think that would be an issue, at all.
And I know you just went through the permitting process through the county, and I'm assuming you'd have to do the same thing with this one. I know you just went through with one
For
with
Windrow?
Windrow.
Yes, sir.
What is that process? Because I think when we approved that one, we were under impression they were going to do some upgrades to that drainage pipe on Section Street.
Yeah, and so that kind of is pretty comparable to this. When we went and talked with the highway department regarding that pipe on Section Street, we showed it needed to be upsized. We needed to do a drainage study downstream, make sure, all of, that we wouldn't make any sort of, situation downstream to alleviate the situation upstream. Ultimately, they came back to us and said they did not want to upsize it at that time, and they just, I guess, asked for our calculations to make sure, what we were doing was attenuating the situation and not making the situation worse. And that's what I would anticipate their stance to be on this culvert as well under Twin Beach.
Kind of puts us in we send notification of, and there's usually some feedback that there is a little bit, but is it fair to say the county really doesn't do a deep dive on those reviews until the turnout permit?
Yes, yeah.
So it's kind of hard for us whether on one side, we can say, well, go figure it out. We can put kind of the burden on them to go get an answer from the county of what the solution is, or we can approve it, maybe conditioned on getting that.
Well, the problem is if they upsize that pipe, that's gonna be a lot, worse for the Mitchells unless they come in and do a whole project.
Right.
If they just upsize it and that's it.
Yeah, that's kind of,
It'd be worse for the Mitchells downhill. That erosion would go from bad to worse.
Absolutely.
I mean, at least that thing, as it slows the water down some and it gets too much of volume and at least it overflows the road and causes sheet flow versus 36 inches of a hose coming out of there.
When you're kind of the elevation of the road, we are putting a dam here where naturally it's backing up.
yes, sir.
And you got the double barrels coming out. Approximately where is that contour, either in the rear of your lot, toward the church's property? Where is that, where it's gonna top the road? Are we gonna top the road sooner after this than we currently are?
No, sir, no, because we're, since we're releasing less kind of into that ravine, it should overtop at a later point in the storm's, cycle or intensity of the storm than it would presently. And that, what's coming into that ravine and then being stopped by our dam is being allowed to stack up to elevation 80, 88 or so, 87 and a half, I think is our 100-year high water. Whereas the top of that road is, let's see, right around a little under 85. So we're able to stack that water up toward the back of our property while we slowly let go, less than would just be hitting that culvert, without any sort of attenuation. So we're trying to stack up the storage as it goes up the hill a little bit.
I had kind of moving to another concern, that was one of my concerns was, across the street. I think you've addressed that well, and the plan looks good in that sense. My other concern is lots 7, 8, 9. I'm having trouble kind of seeing the elevations.
Yes, sir.
At the building heights, you said the road's 85 feet, right?
That was Twin Beach out there, but.
85?
Yes, sir.
At lots 7, 8, and 9, where the building pads would be roughly, más o menos, what are the elevations on those lots? I can't read the numbers.
So it kind of falls off the hill a little bit right there.
My question is where those houses are built, are they going to be higher than the road, it's Twin Beach Road?
They would kind of be down the hill a little bit, but they would probably be about on par with Twin Beach, as if you look to the north from the road or from the lot to Twin Beach, probably a little bit higher. Yeah, because it goes down into a ditch and then kind of comes up a good bit from Twin Beach, so it should be higher than Twin Beach right there.
Pat, are y'all going to build these, or y'all going to sell these?
We'll build some and we'll.
And you don't have to answer that, but that's just.
I don't know exactly which lots we'll build, but we'll build some there, yes.
Because, you can see what I'm getting at. I mean, they come back, this is county road right now, so say they come back at some point, and, when I started at my office, back when my granddad built my office in 68, it was about a 6-inch step down off the sidewalk. Now, I have to go out and chip a little bit of asphalt because they repaved it. And if the, county comes out and repaves that once or twice, goes them another foot, I'm just, see what I'm getting at is that all the houses are built, well above that elevation.
If you look at the bank, right where the road ties into Twin Beach, that existing bank is probably 5 or 6 feet above the sidewalk. It's an old bank. You can see the vegetation on the side of it's a sheer cut. And that's several feet above the road of, the pavement of Twin Beach Road, right there. So as you go from that point back to the west, you're falling, but the land is still above the sidewalk, the existing sidewalk along Twin Beach Road, to a point of about midway of that lot, I would say. So we're gonna build the house up substantially off the ground. Our minimum covenant is gonna be at least 24 inches off the ground. That's the minimum on the height above finished grade. So these are not gonna be houses down on the slab on grade, they're gonna be built up. I suspect we're gonna build those up even more on those 3 lots. So the back will obviously be further off the ground than the front, but the front's gonna be off the ground at least 24 inches. So we can grade and get our water around the house. Does that make sense? Does that help you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the city's been sued so many times with houses getting flooded with culverts, getting blocked up, something goes in that 24-inch pipe, a trash can lid and a couple of stumps and.
It would be about 10 feet. The natural grade, I would say, is 10 to 12 feet from the pipe up to the back of those lots. So that house is
Yes.
substantially above that.
No, but I'm saying the road, because they're talking about the water going over the top of the road. No, I'm talking about Twin Beach Road.
Substantially above Twin Beach.
Yeah, so I guess,
That's my biggest concern, is I don't want Twin Beach Road to act as a dam and, somebody wake up with wet feet in the morning.
That could possibly happen.
yeah, looking at this, the lowest elevation on the building pad in those lots is about 2 feet higher than Twin Beach as existing. And so they're gonna build that up, then it'll
If
be
you
a
go
good
2
bit.
feet up from that, you'd be 4 feet over the road then.
I just had a question or a comment about the sidewalk, and I see y'all are applying for to not have the sidewalk for the rest of the way because of grading issues and that. So on Lot 10, the sidewalk just dead ends.
Yes, sir.
So wouldn't it be better connectivity if if that sidewalk turned and went to the street and like where it intersects Kalex Circle there, and there's some striping or something to make like a loop instead of just a dead end? That just seems,
So,
Like maybe in between 10 and 11?
good question. One we've probably debated for hours and hours, both internally and externally. So one of the reasons, the grading at the entrance on the east side, there is a clump of trees they're trying to save there. That is a change of grade of 5 feet right at the ditch to the sidewalk, so kind of impossible to get the sidewalk down to the street. Looking at the layout, and we debated whether even cut that finger of the sidewalk off and just have it on one side, but our Public Works, and I think there's some logic that not having a mid-block crossing, especially in that turn, you know, it was kind of either or. They did not like that aspect of things, and informally, the lot 10, 11, 12 gets back to Calix, can come around. Informally, probably people are. It's a slow road, speed limit's not a high volume. They probably will be walking across the street to the sidewalks. But having a striped crosswalk is not something we want to direct people to in a mid-block, any mid-block section, much less a residential neighborhood, where crosswalks are not even required at intersections. I'm up for any suggestions, but that was what our Public Works kind of said they didn't want to see happen.
a random dead end of the
We're in
sidewalk.
complete agreement, and we kind of,
Could it go further? I mean, could it
Why
turn the
couldn't you
corner
make-
and go alongside of 10?
Yeah, why couldn't you just make a 90-degree turn on, one side or the other of the Lot 10's driveway? Take it out to the road anyway.
I guess, are you saying go down like there would be a what there would be a crosswalk, but just kind of dead end at the road instead
You could
of?
even make a crosswalk there.
Well,
you know.
if we think that people, where the blue line is on the screen, going on the south side of Lot 7, if that's sort of a way that the public gets to the common space, would it make any sense for it to continue a little sidewalk?
There we go.
Okay.
The green lines are the sidewalks as proposed.
So if the black line that is drainage, that is going in between Lot 7 and 6, it appears that that's an easement where people in the neighborhood might walk to go along into that common area. Would it make sense for the sidewalk to sort of turn and hit the street up there so that it's a way to get to that common area? That,
I don't know if I see people walking there, but, and I don't even know the answer to,
I'd say, Rebecca, that strip in between where that drainage pipe is, I think, more intended to be just an access to get a mower back there.
Okay.
The pond and everything back there, that's not their big green space exhibit, like a lot of times we have where that's part of a park and incorporated into it, and we're trying to bring people back there.
yeah.
That's not really, I don't think, the intentions for what this area.
Well, that was why I had that. It's going to be my next question that kind of Rebecca went into. Does this meet our criteria of green space as far as active, or does this need active?
one of our green space types is preserve, and they're hitting the 10% for just a preserve. The preserve does not have a requirement for active. If they were trying to get a park with a stormwater, that's where the active part comes in.
That meets the requirements now. Yes,
Back to the green space where it shows.
yes,
us-
sir. Absolutely, go ahead.
Hunter? Yes, sir. What I would suggest is, let us get everything graded out and get with you, and let's see if it makes sense to tie the sidewalk to the asphalt at some point. I'm willing to do that. Sometimes you can see things that you can't see now in blueprints, you can see in reality, and I just suggest that we would work with the city on that.
And I'm not sure what is the rules today on mailboxes? Do you have to put a kiosk in? Or can you have individual, because maybe that's a way to bring people down the hill off the sidewalk and just to the mailbox.
I personally like the mailbox. We did that in Point Place. I followed it first, but I actually like having the P.O. box in your neighborhood.
And you can have a view kind of coming down to the edge of road. But
Well, what are the size of these lots?
They're all at least 100 feet wide, some are 120, some are 110.
Depth?
150 at minimum. Some of them are a good bit deeper. 7, 8, 9 are a good bit deeper than 150.
About 150, okay.
So with a preserve, I know I'm not talking about active, like a place to play ball, but I had always thought of a preserve as the place where kids can go explore. Like you could go hike through the woods, even if there aren't official trails, but like the benefit is not just for wildlife, it's that you might go explore that natural area. That was, I think you were kind of getting there. That was the one thing I really like what y'all are doing with the LID, and I like the water treatment. I just couldn't quite see, especially with the one on the right, how people get there, and just wanted to have that maybe fleshed out. Are you inviting people to explore those areas, or are they just preserved, like they really are just a buffer? And is that something that we,
Yeah, I agree. I think it meets the criteria, but we've discussed, this is one of those criteria that, we've got in the ways to change. Eventually, we're gonna have that the green space all has to be usable, active to a certain extent. We've discussed that rather than just, some land back there that, is considered green space where you're just kind of lowering the density down, that it's more of an amenity. It's kind of like with the lakes, if you have a retention pond, if there's a dock or something, we count that toward green space because people can use it. If it's just behind a fence, we don't because it's not usable. And we've been discussing, we've been discussing having all green space be required to be active so that people have, somewhere to go kick a ball. Now, these lots are, pretty nice size for, R1 lots, but now the way people are putting footprints on their houses now, extending their garages with, what do you call them, breezeways and everything else. I mean, hopefully there'll be some trees and some grass left at the end of the day on these lots, but anyway, the ones you built, I'm sure. But anyway, that's kind of something we're getting
Can
at.
you tell me the size of lot 7 square foot?
I can grab my plat. I think this has it.
well, and my other reason for asking that is that I think the LID measures, like the infiltration areas that are vegetated, they look like they're gonna be really beautiful. I mean, they look really nice, and if they're tucked behind that lot 6, it would be nice for people to go and walk around and look at, there's gonna be butterflies on that milkweed, it's gonna be a pretty thing, and if I lived there, I'd wanna walk around it and look at the muhly grass. And maybe walk my dog or something.
We might be able to kind of put a trail back there and like a more
I was
natural
thinking-
feeling trail.
If you could shrink the lot, if you had enough room, pull the lots in toward the road 5 feet, then you could follow that, what you were talking about, and kind of turn north into the common area with a trail.
I think there's almost space if you
Right on
just-
the back of the lots, to get north to the common area, you fall off into the detention pond. There's no room there to put it without putting it in the
you
rear
go
of the lot,
around the bio infiltration, but not so much around the dry.
where the common area is.
It's a dry pond, it's hopefully.
Hopefully.
Any other questions for the developer at this time?
I had one more thing on the sidewalks. On the green space exhibit, on the circulation, the sidewalk is shown differently on lot 13, where the really big 72-inch live oak is.
Yes, sir.
Which one is the one y'all are gonna?
We had, based on conversation with staff and our landscape architect, we're deciding to go to the inside of that tree as the, I guess, the revised plans show. So it's not on this screen, but we have decided to go on the inside, on the road side of that tree. We think it's better to impact only one side of the root bed of that tree as opposed to try and impact, 360 degrees around that, for saving that tree.
Okay, cool. I was hoping you would say that.
Okay.
And we really even talked about, we'll probably need to be there on site as they get close to that and
Yeah.
evaluating at permitting time, Like I said, let them get out there where the grade is, but the full intent is to not affect the root zone as much as possible. So there was quite a few revisions trying to guess, but we ultimately kind of said, that's probably going to take some field trips and when they kind of get out there and see where those actual roots are and what we're going to do there. I know we talked about that. Did we make that a condition or do we need to?
We didn't make it a condition.
I mean, if you'd like to, we'll certainly invite you out. You've got some expertise in that area, but I think we can handle that administratively too.
Any other questions? Stacy, do you have one more question?
Yeah, the driveway that's coming off of Twin Beach, I know it's gonna be kind of up, going to the east side, on the south, it's far up on the east side. So what is where is that water gonna go, coming off the street? Are y'all gonna do another drain right there? Because I'm like.
Oh, ask Stacy, hey, Stacy, ask the engineer. He's the one with the microphone. That way to go through the microphone.
Okay.
And since she's not there, if you'll repeat the question that she just asked. She's asking where the water's gonna go coming off of the driveway from y'all's subdivision.
And the sewage, where y'all sewage gonna be coming off Twin Beach Road?
So, I guess for drainage, we're putting a drain underneath our driveway to capture that, water that's from the north that's coming to our, street connection. And then we've got, a drain that goes underneath there and releases it to the south toward the culvert that goes underneath Twin Beach. So, I guess right where we're connecting, there's not much of a ditch. Kind of as you go further south, there becomes a defined ditch on that south side of Twin Beach. So we're kind of piping that section where there's not a real defined ditch, and then releasing it into that ditch toward the south. To the
Okay,
culvert.
so, to clear my thought, the retention pond with.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the pipe, now that's what we was talking about earlier, it's gonna release just a little, but now you got your driveway, that's gonna release it back down to that same area. Is
Yeah,
it gonna flow that way?
just the original water that's already flowing down Twin Beach, just to get it underneath our driveway, we're piping that and sending it south where it's already going.
So, and one more question,
Yes, ma'am.
where the pipe is, it's all, y'all gonna clean that out, right? Are y'all gonna take down all of those right there?
No, ma'am. Our intention is to leave everything north of our pond dam natural. And then a 50-foot strip south of Twin Beach is also going to be natural as a vegetative buffer between the houses and the subdivision and the road.
This what I wanna tell the city. Naturally, it's a mess already. That's what I'm saying. Now, I would love to see more neighbors come in. I want Twin Beach to grow like it was when I was little.
Yes, ma'am.
But I'm telling you, right there where y'all talking about that driveway, that water has got to go somewhere, and it's gonna go to that little pipe.
Yes, and that's where it's going right now, and that's all factored into our drainage calculations. The water that's coming down the hill from the east toward that pipe it's all included into our calculations, our drainage calculations on that.
Just,
On that pipe.
I thought about that when I seen that driveway, but we weren't talking about the driveway, we was talking about the retention pond.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Yes, sir.
You already closed the public hearing.
I did.
And just real quick, because I do want to kind of put this on record, we stormwater in the right of way, stormwater infrastructure in the right of way. Usually, and there's a limit there of what we're supporting, and we do talk with our public works. For the most part, these are kind of rain gardens, similar to Popner Place. I think at first there was a deeper pond, and, that's not things we're not looking for in our right of way. So it's not a precedent to just put stormwater in our right of ways. there's a limit, and it's the LIDs and kind of measurements there that what can be there, and that cooperative maintenance agreement, you know, that will have to get approved through the city council will be who maintains some of those.
I meant to say along those lines too, just for the record, if it looked like they were putting it in the right of way in order to get more density, then that is not something that that we would support.
Very much in our subregs
But
that you have
that
approval
doesn't,
for.
that's not what appears to be happening here. It's.
All right, well, we've hashed this one out pretty well. I will entertain a motion.
And
Be two
also,
separate-
there's 3 motions for this. One for the minor subdivision,
Okay.
the first case. The second will be a waiver request motion on that. And then the final motion to approve or deny or table the second case.
I'm trying to get us out of here, Mike, but, no, okay. First, we will do the minor subdivision. This is simply to break out the cell phone tower, SD 26.03. I will entertain a motion for SD 2603.
Make a motion, we approve SD 2603 as presented,
Per staff recommendations.
subject to staff recommendations.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? I've got a motion that we approve SD 2603, subject to staff recommendations. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, on SD 2604, will anybody willing to make a motion to have a sidewalk waiver so that, oh, do we,
It's not sidewalk, stormwater in the right of way.
oh, I thought we had to do the sidewalk waiver as well.
The sidewalk waiver is already, that's what we built into the subdivision
That's in the
regulations, that due
okay.
to certain circumstances, you can do
They
that.
met those.
All right. Do I have a motion to support the waiver request and put some of the LID techniques into the city right-of-way?
I move what do we do? Approve the waiver request stormwater in the right of way.
Okay, I've got a motion to approve the waiver request of the stormwater in the right-of-way. Do I have a second? Chris, do we need to add anything so we're not setting a precedent?
I don't think, though. I think it was adequately explained, given the circumstances and the bio benefits of this particular situation.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Finally, SD 2604, do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve SD 2604, subject to staff recommendations.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. No more new or old business, correct, Hunter? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So
Move to
moved.
adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.